David, you ready to level up?
Yes, sir.
Hey, all you mamas and papas, I'm Alex.
I'm David.
Now we want to give you guys ideas on what you can do with your 3-year-old. One game I like to recommend to all of my parents is playing Simon Says. It works on listening skills, following simple directions, also cognitive ability. So if you name out something, your child has to find it.
In this game, Simon Says, or I like to refer to it as I Spy, you're building on tons of receptive listening skills, sort of how Alex was describing. Now, you can always mix it up. You can always say, Mama says, Dada says, Tío says, Tia says,
Teacher says.
Teacher says, and you build on him identifying the individuals using that terminology with him.
It teaches a ton of skills. It teaches wait and listen, as well as locate. It's a fun game to keep your 3-year-old busy and active, and it's working on so many different skills.
Now, I know at this time, our 3-year-old isn't a baby, but some of my families like to say, baby says. Try to, if that's the nickname you have for them, Babas, or different names you have for your child.
Cute little nicknames.
Cute nicknames. Try to make them identify their own name. Mm-hmm. This is a great skill as they get older to move into kindergarten. Identifying themselves by name is something that's required at this time. So I'm not saying not to call them by their cute nicknames or their grandparents who call them by their cute nicknames or refer them to as the baby. That's fine, but just make sure we're starting to build on more of that name for them.
That's right.
So one of the games you could play for your 3-year-old is when we take them to the grocery store, each grocery store has aisle numbers. Now, I know we might have talked about aisle numbers in the past, but this is a great game for them to account by aisle or which aisle we're going down. Mm-hmm. So if we're going down aisle number 2, and we might actually be on aisle number 1, see if they notice that we're actually on aisle 1 and we're supposed to go to aisle 2.
That's right. Or if you were like me, the cereal aisle. That's how I called it. I never really thought about the numbers all that much. I just wanted to see the cereal.
So identifying things they like. Of course, they're going to like their cereal because 1, it's a morning breakfast for them, or it's a snack during the day. So yeah, a cereal aisle you can always identify by objects that are there. Cereal, meat, yogurts, things like that where they're going to identify and help you find it. You can always, I know it's a stressful time to take our kiddos out, but when things start to calm down, please incorporate them in taking them to the grocery store, because you can play this game with them where you can even continue the I Spy game or Simon Says game in there. Simon Says, find the yogurt. And obviously you're either have them in the cart or you're holding their hand.
You're incorporating your child in this task. It's a sense of empowerment, because at 3 years old, there's only so much that they're able to control. So by you giving them power, it helps build that momentum and build confidence. Like, I can do this. It may take you a little bit longer to get through some things, but hey, this is important for their development.
And once again, this is when you're most comfortable taking them back to the grocery store. It doesn't have to be at the grocery store, but this is just an example of continuing these games. And obviously we know taking a 3-year-old to a grocery store is hard. It's stressful sometimes. Mm-hmm. So why not give you some more tools and resources for you guys to feel a little bit less stressed and you guys have an action plan.
Mm-hmm. One thing you can do when you're at home is a balance game. Spicing it up, you can put a piece of tape on the floor and then tell your 3-year-old to walk the balance. Maybe you can say that there's sharks, or maybe there's lava that they can't touch. Spicing it up, you can create different lines with the tape that they have to go from one point to another. Make it difficult, push them, encourage them to try to stay on the tape for balance purposes.
Now the kind of tape we're talking about is simple painter's tape that you would use. You wouldn't necessarily use duct tape or scotch tape for this activity. You want to use something that's not going to harm your carpet or harm your floors once you take it off. But yeah, I think if you use that type of activity, that's a balance beam. You can also count seconds on there, how long who can stay on the balance beam the longest. You can include other siblings as a target goal. Maybe if you have older brother there that's maybe 5 years old or 7 years old, you use them as an example. Okay, let's go for 20 seconds. Let's go for a minute. Let's go for 2 minutes. Things like that where you set the bar in a challenge for your toddler.
It's going to push them, it's going to encourage them, and then it's exciting. It's a challenge. Push your 3-year-old as much as possible, because that's how they're going to learn, that's how they're going to progress, and that's how they're going to get smarter.
Another thing you can do is you can make shapes. So you don't have to make a straight beam. You can always make shapes like a triangle or a square or I've even seen a star done in this type of pattern. And you can start pinpointing points of the shapes, actually have them help you make the shape. Where now that you're including more of a structured cognitive learning task using tape.
Pushing them, encouraging them, keeping them busy, that's the name of the game. Because if they're staying busy, their brains are staying active. And that's how you get progression. Thank you all for watching. These are just a few tips, games, activities for your 3-year-old. That's going to be the next content that we're going to be putting out is tips, strategies, games that you can play with whatever your child's age is.